If one day you have a craving for a particular brand of imported coffee, or you need a specific tool for a DIY project, or need a gag gift for a quirky friend, what name comes to mind? Chances are you're thinking the same name as me, Amazon. If something is available for sale, you're likely to find it on Amazon. That's the kind of confidence that brand inspires. It's a little bit magical the way that Amazon can make it happen, isn't it? It's the reason this is a brand millions trust all over the world today. So what did the brand do so right to continue doing so right? Today we're answering the question on every entrepreneur's mind. What are the top 10 strategies that can make brands successful? And do stay tuned to the end, for I am going to give you the key to branding like the Fortune 100 companies, like Amazon. Today, I'm going to share with you the top 10 branding truths all CEOs must know, the branding strategies the top companies use to create trust and brand loyalty in the hearts and minds of people all around the world. As a brander and a namer that has worked with some of the best in the business, I can tell you this: the success or failure of any brand boils down to just one or two of the top 10 strategies about brand building. Every CEO needs to know these to create a brand that takes up permanent space in the hearts of its ideal individuals. Bill Gates once said, "Success is a lousy teacher. It seduces smart people into thinking they can't lose." Of course, failure is no fun when you're living through it, and it's often a long time before we can look back and recognize the value of the lessons we learned from failure and how priceless they are. So yes, you can wait and make a few of those mistakes yourself, or you can learn the top 10 branding strategies that will help your brand come out of nowhere. So back to the top 10 branding practices. Since Amazon is the brand I spoke of first, let me continue to use Amazon as your example to explain each of these strategies. Amazon is, after all, one of the most valuable economic and cultural forces in the world. It became the world's most valuable brand within 30 years of founding. What are the lessons here for other brands? Number 1, great names work for you 24/7. Bad names work against you 24/7. Naming your brand is the most challenging, significant, and important stage of the process of branding. Do you know what Jeff Bezos wanted to call Amazon to begin with? Cadabra. What? I hear you say cadabra? Is that like abracadabra without the abra? So why not cadabra? Well, the story goes that Bezos, while speaking to his lawyer on the phone, said cadabra, and his lawyer went, "What, cadaver?" So right then and there, the name was nixed. It wasn't clever. It was too liable to be misunderstood, mispronounced. Relentless was Bezos' second name choice. So if you look up relentless.com, it leads to Amazon.com. Number 2, your brand must always occupy a unique space in your ideal audience's heart. It's easy to see why Amazon does this. Not only will you find just about everything you want online store, you know it will be conveniently home delivered. It becomes almost natural to turn to Amazon when you want something or you want to send a gift. So Amazon's place in the mind space of its customers is certainly unique, rather like a default shopping option in the brain, because no other brand can quite do what Amazon can. It has become almost generic, the way you Google something to search or FedEx something to courier it. Number 3, trust is the actual currency of a brand. Why do you trust Amazon? You know that you will get what you're ordering. If not, you know you're protected. If you don't want it, you can mostly send it back. And the knowledgeable and attentive customer care is just a huge plus. Shopping on Amazon is a stress-free experience. You trust that you will find what you want, and you trust that when it reaches your doorstep, it also will be exactly what you ordered. It may be a bit of a joke that sometimes a rock arrives in the box instead of an iPhone, but when a woman ordered a dress without checking the size, a doll's dress turned up, so things can go a little wrong sometimes, but if they do, they'll make it right. And you also trust this. Trust is the only real currency of anything and all things of value. Number 4, your brand message must align perfectly with the values and ethics of your community. Amazon is, of course, Earth's biggest selection and Earth's most customer-centric company. That is their messaging, unambiguous, direct, and consistent, perfectly aligned with their worldwide community. But consider how things can and do go wrong. Take the example of Abercrombie & Fitch. CEO Mike Jeffries' words came back to bite him. In an interview in 2006, he said that the store only wanted thin, beautiful people to shop with them. The original interview went viral online in 2013 and caused outrage among the public and celebrities alike. The brand may have aimed itself only at that particular set of people in the past, but people were a lot more woke in 2013, and this did not resonate at all. Number 5, consistency equals brand loyalty. And brand loyalty is your business plan. Branding is not a quick fix. It needs time, attention, and work. It needs this consistency over time. Sometimes companies get bored and try to do something new and fiddle with the messaging, the advertising, the brand personality, or the look. Maybe a tweaked tagline here or a new color there. Maybe a brand wanted to stop being so serious and decided to make their messaging more casual, flippant, or funny. This often does not work. Consistency is the key. What if the Amazon box was suddenly missing the characteristic smiling arrow? You'd be like, suspicious. Who wouldn't want to open that box? What if Jeff Bezos decided one day that Amazon would be only about designer labels from here on out? He would lose most of his customers. Not only does branding have to be visually consistent, the messaging, the tone, the personality of the organization has to be consistent, trustworthy. That familiarity helps a brand retain trust and enjoy brand loyalty. Number 6, customer enthusiasm comes directly from employee enthusiasm. Employees. Now this may be one hitch in the Amazon armor. Amazon's treatment of its employees is probably their one PR fail. Social media is full of memes that attack Bezos for being the richest man in the world while his employees have poor working conditions and often languish in poverty. So let's look at Adobe instead. For our example, the brand switched its social media strategy after one enthusiastic employee drove more social traffic to the website through his genuine posts than even Adobe's official Twitter presence ever did. It's incredible. Enthusiasm is the most transferable of emotions. Zoom Video Communications had the happiest employees in 2020 because of a positive work environment, fair pay, and being excited about work, liking coworkers, all of it. Zoom saw a 20-fold increase in daily users from 10 million in December 2019 to 200 million in March 2020, largely due to the pandemic and work from home scenarios. But even so, there were other alternatives, platforms, yet Zoom became the people's top choice. Coincidence? You decide. Number 7, always have a pivot strategy. There is no strategy that works without a pivot strategy. This basically is about fundamentally changing the direction of a company when realization dawns that current products or services are no longer meeting the needs of the market. Here's the aim of the pivot. It's to not just survive, but to grow and increase revenues. So some of us may not even remember this, but Amazon started off as an online seller of books out of Jeff Bezos' garage in Bellevue, Washington. The first pivot came when this expanded to toys, jewelry, clothing, video games, software, and electronics. Later, pivoted again to become all those things to all people, and the rest is history, as you well know. Number 8, what your brand does is more important than what your brand says. If a brand makes a promise, the brand has to live up to it. Any mismatch and you lose customers' trust and confidence. Lots of companies claim to be customer-centric, but few follow through with their actions. Amazon puts its money where its mouth is. It claims to be customer-centric, and it is customer-centric. You're able to speak to an actual person in a minute if so much as a nail cutter you bought doesn't meet your expectations. How many companies can manage this? Number 9, brands should be able to evolve. Brands need to refine, innovate, get creative, and breathe new life into their same promise, that same consistent brand promise, to flow in alignment with changing times. Consider what would have happened to Amazon if it had continued to selling only physical books. Not only would it not be among the largest corporations in the world right now, it might not even have existed. Another example, Lego, one of my favorites, a toy brand that branched out into amusement parks, then into Lego Factory, where people could create custom toys, and then into Lego Movies in 2014. Here's another example. McDonald's adapted to changing needs by creating drive-through restaurants and made sure those giant M's were visible from miles away. So you can get creative with this. Number 10, make your brand your most valuable asset. For successful businesses, their brand is the single most valuable asset. Invest in it. Dedicate resources to it and make brand building a conscious exercise. Get your team and your employees on board. Give your brand a personality and a voice. Let it develop stature and presence. As entrepreneur Lisa Gansky said, a brand is a voice and a product is a souvenir. I love that saying. When Amazon purchased Whole Foods in 2017, nearly 70% of the purchase price for the company was towards, get this, goodwill, which arose from the high brand value of Whole Foods. Amazon appreciated this fact. This brand value is a complex of different aspects of running a business and the ways in which all of these coalesce. It isn't just what a brand is worth in terms of company turnover or the assets it owns and the products it makes. Your company's reputation in the market, that thing called goodwill, your brand messaging, sponsorships, customer experience, all come together to determine the brand value. So you want to make sure you build and maintain and nourish, even grow your brand value. You recognize it as your greatest asset. So right now, mentally assess your brand. Do you think your brand is unique and beloved and trusted? Is the name right? And does the messaging convey consistently what you would like it to? Does your brand follow through and do what it says? Follow through on its promises? Do you have a pivot strategy for, say, a changed market or changing realities across the whole planet like COVID has brought about? Do you need to innovate, change, grow, or breathe new life into your brand? How can you do this? Make your customers feel right at home with your brand and convince them that to choose you over all other options every single time is the right thing to do. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. I release new videos every Tuesday and Thursday, which you can use as your own personal branding masterclass to become an inspiration to millions. And here's something to get you started on the path to branding like the top 1% companies. Click the link in the description below to learn to do it like the pros and become an inspiration to millions by always remembering to love what you do and love how you do it. Thanks for watching. Don't miss out on a single thing. Subscribe below. And here's something else I think you'll love.